Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 47, day 47 of the Breakthrough Challenge. My name is Dr. Mogire. This week, we are speaking about energy, which is one of the only three resources that we have control over. The three resources are time, energy, and attention. Whereas time is finite, it is fixed. It's just 24 hours a day. It's 365 or 66 sometimes a year. Energy is not fixed. You and I are like a generator. We do not come with a fixed amount of energy. We can produce a higher level of energy. For the people on the call, I want us to do a quick review based on the segments that we have covered during the previous sessions of this challenge. And the first part we are going to start with is goals. I want you to write down your top 10 goals really quickly. Write down your top 10 goals, and I hope you have a piece of paper and a pen, and you write them offhand. Remember, that is the aim. The aim is to get to a place where wherever you are, you can reproduce those goals, and they come to you really quickly. And there's a power in writing down. There's a reason why when we were little, our parents and our teachers insisted that we must write our name. That would have been one of the easiest things for them to ignore, because it's probably the hardest thing that you do as a child, learning to write your name. There is a power in writing. There's a power in a written word. The strongest religions in the world, they have something written down. Writing was one of the most revolutionary skills that that evolved with time. Write your name down. When you hear words, it is written. The writing is on the wall. Now we want to get to the place of saying the goals are written down. They are written on the wall. The more frequently I write my goals, the more they become embedded into my mind. Write your goals, your top 10 goals down. And if you've never done this exercise and you're watching this video for the first time, this is one of the most powerful yet simple things that you can do every day. Write your top 10 goals down. And of course, you're not limited to writing only top 10. If you have 20 goals showing up, write those goals down. Allow your brain to become a river rather than a reservoir. Don't force your brain to become where you hold information. Put the information down on paper. Write your top 10 goals, and you're going to read to us what you have written really quickly. You're not explaining anything. You're reading them to us as they came out, as you wrote them. They may not be in the exact language you've written them before. They may not be in the exact language you've written them in your diary or journal, wherever you keep your list of goals. I have one belief, and I have applied this in every academic endeavor I have ever been involved in. If I had a piece of information in class that is important, and I had to keep that piece of information in one place, I would rather keep it in my memory. In other words, my ability to remember it. That means I put it in my notes, but I try to reproduce it from my mind often enough that my brain learns how to express it spontaneously. How many people fail exams across the world, yet they have notebooks which have some of the most beautiful handwriting, some of the most beautiful content? You know, the titles are written in black, subtitles in green, the content in blue, and underlined and well numbered. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how beautiful the notes you have are, or the ideas you have in your diary are. Are you able to reproduce them on an ongoing basis wherever you are? Do you carry them with you? Because what you carry with you is what gives you power. So let's start off with reading out the top those goals that you wrote down. We'll start with James. James, what goals did you write down? Just read them to us, no explanations. These are my goals. Go, James.
These are my goals. To become a consistent learner. The second one is I must become proficient in Photoshop, Illustrator, and Premiere Pro. I must raise 50,000 for my investment purposes. I must read one book every month on either financial or personal development, 1 hour every day. I must find and work with mentors in the 3 areas of academics, finances, and relationships. I must write for 30 minutes every day. I must become the kind of son that appreciates his parents by surprise. I must work with a therapist. I must drink two glasses of water before 6 a.m. I must work out at 4 p.m. I must write my goals every morning before 6 a.m. And I must keep my goals with me at all times. And I must practice drawing.
Fantastic.
Those are my goals.
Drawing, or what is the time allocated to that? Is the reason why I'm specifically asking about the time allocated to drawing. How much time per day? James?
I have on my daily schedule. On my daily schedule, I have 3 periods set out, around, I think 10 minutes each, spread out within the day, where I can just do a sketch because I'm learning from, yeah.
Wow, fantastic. How does that, maybe we'll discuss this longer, but how does that tie into you learning Premiere Pro and Adobe Illustrator? We'll come into that. Elena, you've just joined us. Write down your top 10 goals really quickly because we will soon get to you and we would want you to read out your goals. Ndungi, what are your top 10 goals?
Good day. My top 10 goals. I am consistently learning and evolving through my financial markets dimension. I am a consistent learner who studies for 5 hours a day, 25-minute sessions. I am mindful and view everything with gratitude. I am fluent in Spanish. I invest 20 minutes a day towards my Spanish vocabulary. I am on the market for an index fund I can invest in. I am growing on the journey to self-actualization. I am a compelling speaker and I am a problem solver. Those are the ones that I have for now.
Okay, I love them. My encouragement for you is to reform. I love that most of your goals are identity driven, but I want them I would recommend to you to make them progress based, journey based. In other words, they are not outcomes already, right? I am not fluent in Spanish. I am becoming, or I am gaining. It is an identity, but it's also on the journey, so that then this is all about how to make your brain, make it easy for you to believe that you are headed there. Because whenever you say I am something, sometimes your brain reads, oh, so I am not, now I'm trying to become it. Does that make sense? Remember, one of the goals we kept referencing to is James's goal. I am becoming a consistent learner. Consistent learner is an identity. I am becoming. It's a journey. I am heading there. I am learning 20 new words, or I'm learning 20 new vocabularies every day, right? I am learning. So what is the identity? Learner. I'm learning. And what is the state? It's not already done. I am doing it. That's just something that really works for me whenever I'm setting goals, because then sometimes it gives me room. The more specific it is, gives me room for me to over deliver to myself. I am writing 3 speeches a week. Then when I do 5, I really feel like I have hit it out of the park. Thank you, Ndungi, for sharing your goals. Diba, what are your top 10 goals this afternoon?
Good afternoon. My overarching goal is to become a diligent worker and an intentional learner so that I grow, impact, and serve. So my number 1 goal is I wake up at 5 a.m. every day. I am saving $40,000 by November 2021 to support myself during my internal medicine residency. I read and understand Arabic by November 21. I am running for 20 to 30 minutes and doing planking for 2 to 3 minutes every day between 6 and 7 p.m. I have reduced time spent on social media to less than 1 hour and allocated 20 to 30 minutes of quality time for my family. I am reading a book or a scientific paper for 30 to 60 minutes every day. I have applied and won a Northern Pacific Global Health Research Fellow position for 2022. I have published 3 epidemiological papers in a recognized scientific journal. I own a 3-bedroom apartment in Nairobi by April 2021.
Wow, thank you. I like that your goals have expanded, and that's because that's a very short time for you to come up with all these goals. And you see that this habit really does work to get your mind active and going on. So just my comments will still be the same, like I mentioned, to doing it and to everyone. Identity-driven journey. So let it be you are becoming and you are on the way to heading there. And so I especially love your specific goal about physical activity, physical exercise. You have specifically running, specifically planking, and you have it at a specific time, and it is within a time frame rather than a specific. It's not like I'm running at 6 p.m. because this is at the end of the day. Sometimes things can come along, as long as you know somewhere between 6 and 7. So you have a specific goal, but you have a buffer around it. And you could do this. You could even do some of these exercises if you live with your family. Some of these like planking, you could think about maybe making it like a family fun, maybe with your kids, and you'll find ways. I love them, and we will still keep working with them because since you joined us, I see how quickly you are progressing. Thank you, Diba, for sharing your goals. Brainy, could you please share with us your goals this afternoon?
Oh yeah, sure. Grand rising, everyone. So my first goal is consistently working on creating an online Chinese course with 15 clients. And the second goal is consistently working on creating Chinese course every day for 40 minutes from 3:30 to 4:10. And my third goal is I'm becoming a certified therapist. And my other goal is I'm doing meal preps every Sunday. And my last goal is taking myself out for lunch twice a month.
Yeah.
Because my other goals, my other lifestyle goals, I've also noticed like I just automatically do them, so I don't write them down anymore. I mean, I move from the shelf to actions.
Wow.
Right.
That's amazing that when the lifestyle goals become automatic, it releases a lot of brain power because you're no longer thinking about them. And when they become automatic, they are no longer a source of guilt. And guilt is one of the things that we have to really be careful about, because guilt serves too much energy. It costs you too much energy as a person. Guilt, you will start the day by just waking up slightly later than you had planned. You feel guilty the rest of the day. We don't want that to happen. Or Judith has joined us. Please write your top 10 goals. That's what we are doing, and we will soon be getting to you. So once lifestyle goals become so, I would love for all of you to come to a day when you're no longer measuring your physical activity goals, where it's automatic. Because then if we can't get there, then right now you should be telling us what time you will brush your teeth, right? What time you will make your bed, how you will close the door when you leave home, and how you will put the keys in the pocket and leave, and when you will come back, and how you'll remove the keys from the pocket and open the door. If you get the drift, that we get to a place where there are things which we have intentionally made a normal part of our daily life, that they are no longer goals. Then that creates room for my brain to actually focus on the 2 or 3 goals, or even the one top goal. Right now, today, I just have 2 overarching goals, period. I just have 2 overarching goals. And these overarching goals have what I call the OKRs, the objectives in each of these goals and the key results. You see what ends, the reason why sometimes we lose energy is because we are doing a lot. We are doing so many things. Yet at the end of the day, if you remember the Pareto principle, at the end of the day, 20% of your activities produce 80% of your results. Yet the 80% of your activities consume 80% of your time. The question is, for the purpose of the future, in light of my past experiences, my current circumstances, and my future aspirations, what's the best use of my time right now? In other words, which activity, if done correctly today, will give me an outcome that will still make a difference 20 years from today? So that I start shifting towards those. And when that mindset starts to lock in, it becomes very easy for you to say, this week I'm writing 5,000 words to get this article or this report out of the way. So these next 2 weeks, I'm not going to social media. I'm not checking my email until 4 or 5 or maybe 7 p.m. It becomes very easy to narrow down because 20% of your activities produce 80% of your impact. 20% of your activities project 80% of your value. 20% of your activities produce 80% of your growth. What is your 20%? That's what we are looking for. So the more you allow yourself to produce the goals, the easier it becomes for you to begin to figure out which of these areas are you really needing to go in. I like to say this, when it comes to physical activity goals, unless you're preparing for an Olympic marathon, your main aim is to develop functional fitness. Functional fitness. I have no desire to have abs right now. If I decide, it might become one of those goals I pursue. For example, if I decide to, whatever I decide to do, I might desire those, but I don't need abs right now. I have abs, they are just that they are protected under a slight layer of fat. So what I'm doing is just to minimize the layer of fat so that the fat doesn't, suffocate my abs. But I do not need to to spend time during the day chiseling my muscles. I just need functional fitness so that my lifestyle has a level of functional fitness. It allows me to have enough sleep. It allows me to have enough time for the people I love, so that then I carve out enough time for either school or my job if I'm employed, plus be able to create enough room for me to accumulate enough growth in the course of 1 year to help me either transcend this job I'm in, transcend this environment I'm living in, for me to see growth, to increase my legacy, to improve my impact, to give me greater freedom, and enable me to live with a higher level of energy. So thank you, Brainy. Your sharing has stimulated a little bit of conversation. And now we will go to, I'm sorry, this thing keeps changing the orders. I have to look through again. Let's go now to Elena. So we still have, yeah, it keeps changing the order, but I will get to everyone. Elena, what are your goals?
Okay, my 10 goals start with, I am editing my proposal and reading strategic management articles for 1 hour daily at 10 a.m. in order to graduate in June 2021. I am becoming an effective problem solver, pivoting into business growth consulting by studying for 2 hours per week on Monday at 10 a.m. I am attaining 60 kgs of weight through daily yoga at 5 a.m. for 20 minutes and cardio once a week. I am running a dropshipping company on a part-time basis by investing 3 2 hours at 3 p.m. every day towards business planning and operationalizing it. I am writing 400 words per day on on business strategy at 11 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
I am speaking French fluently by practicing for 25 minutes daily at 7 a.m. I'm expanding my worldview through reading 1 chapter a day at 5 a.m. every day. I am studying 1 hour per week to advance my skills in freelancing on Friday at 10 a.m. And I'm holding an accountability meeting with myself daily at 6:30 a.m. and weekly on Sunday afternoon.
I love it. I love it. I envy you how much learning there is in your your journey along your journey. Or I envy you how much learning you're having to do. I would pose to you one question. Is there a way to combine, to create a core focus that allows you, apart from language, that brings all that learning together so that you are learning almost around the same subject? So for example, you're looking at doing business consulting. Might the fact that you want to run a drop shipping company be a basis for you to learn about business from? So this is my suggestion, that your brain becomes most effective when it has one core thing at the center. Your proposal is a transitory goal. You will be done with it and it will be gone, right? Business management, that can be a transitory goal. Drop shipping company. So for example, it might, maybe your question might be, how can someone run a drop shipping company in Africa? People are doing it here in the US, they're doing it in Europe. So might that be like a potential? So because you will have to learn about the market, you will have to learn about barriers to business setting up and setting up business systems, and all the ingredients that come in with a business. So think about it. How can you narrow this stuff down so that you are learning in one field, and that allows your brain to not do what we call context switching? Nothing burns more calories than what we call context switching. Context switching is when your brain has to stop focusing on this and start focusing on something else. When it comes to learning goals, I believe that most of the time we waste in school is because we are taught to, we are forced to context switch too much, because each of these subjects have been made to feel like a totally different thing. It's a different teacher coming in with a different level of energy, different style of teaching. We dissolve that, because our life is not like there is time for mathematics, there is time for physics, there is time for it's all related. Our life is happening continuously and everything is happening together. So that I would rather, for 6 to 8 months, everything you're reading is around the same subject, right? You consolidate a few ideas, but you become so good at implementing and teaching these ideas, so that then you train your brain to go deep in a small area and become empowered in that area, rather than having 4, 5, or 6 different things. And then of course, remember. So go ahead.
With the drop shipping business, it's something
Yes.
I've done in the past for
Yes.
2 years. So it's just an additional income stream that needs to be set up. It's not a new thing that I'm learning.
Okay.
But I do get what you're saying in terms of context switching. It does make sense.
How the question is how much if you already have experience in it, it's probably not going to take as much energy in terms of doing it. Right? Yes. When it comes to learning goals, the question you always want to ask yourself is how much of an impact will this have in 10 years or 20 years, right? If there is an area of goals that I have seen people like Coach change goals so often, is the area of learning. And that is one of the most wasteful things we do to ourselves. We changed our goals in the area of learning, and we even on something that we could eventually have become experts. But I like the structure of your goals. I like how specific they are. Learning is such a big part of the journey you are going towards. You know what that means? that you're still going to show up on so many of the days when you don't feel like. Because the one set of goals that test you is learning goals. Physical activity goal, you stand and you start doing it. Learning goals, you have to sit down and you are like, today I don't feel like it. Yeah, but you still do it. Thank you, Elena, for sharing your goals with us. Let's go to Rumbi. I should have come to you earlier, just that my system keeps, it's like it's juggling the names. Rumbi, what are your top 10 goals?
Hi, okay. So with me, my top 10 goals is to live a simple but fulfilling life that inspires generations to come. So that's the main thing. So number 1 is choosing to be positive at the start of each day. And then number 2 is reading at least 1 chapter a day in the afternoon. Then number 3 is writing 5 goals daily at the start of the day. Number 4, stretch or exercise on waking up and before bedtime or do a workout. And then the next one is add value to 2 people or follow up on 2 of my clients. And then dress up and show up on time. Timekeeping, that's another goal for me. And then working on content for Fully Enrich and creating the team. So I'll do that in the afternoon from 3 to 4. And then a lifestyle would be unwinding at least between 8 to 9. So like between 8 and 9, that's my time. I'm not going to be on my phone or talking to anyone. It's just my time to unwind. And then eating healthily and following a positive lifestyle is another bigger goal.
Right. Thank you, Rumbi. Thank you. You have in the list of your goals, you have a number of lifestyle goals. So we keep working on them and get them behind so that they are no longer lifestyle goals. They start stepping aside. I know your journey and your area of focus on how consistent do you feel you have been where you are now in terms of creating content, and what kind of content are you creating? In other words, what format of content are you creating?
Okay, so of late, I was not very, to be honest, I was not very motivated. So this whole 90 days has really motivated me to start again. I actually just shelved it because there was a lot going on. And also with the whole coronavirus, there was like a shift that I was trying to then transition. But of late, I'm working on, even if I don't feel like it, I'm doing it at least for 3 to 4 hours. I'm working on content. So the content that I'm currently working on is I'm doing a 90-day and a 30-day program for my clients so that whenever they come on board, I don't have to, start from scratch. I've got templates that I can actually work with. And then I'm also coming up with a list of like the African foods and their health benefits so that I can be able to know which clients I can recommend which African foods or herbs for them to use.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 major things. Yeah.
Okay. Here is my challenge to you. Give yourself a specific timeline, and my recommendation would be like 180 or 360 days. You can choose whichever works for you. Give yourself a fixed time frame and make it a commitment to yourself. Like it's a commitment. Perhaps for you on November 28th, this would be one of the ingredients in your commitment, that you are going to create a piece of content every day. If this is an area where you see yourself becoming an expert in the next 10 years, it's going to require daily practice. Today, you're going to be like an athlete, showing up every day, no matter what happens. And here, the 2 formats of content that I would recommend is video or audio. And what's going to happen is initially you are going to doubt yourself. You're going to judge your content severely. I am here. This is content we are creating together. So it's whatever journey you will go into, I will have gone through this journey. I have professional quality podcasting equipment The camera I'm using here, the microphones I'm using, I've had this equipment for a long time, but I've only shared probably a tenth of the total content I have created, right? It comes to a day when we just have to step beyond our own little worries and step out so that we can get refined. Step into the rain, let the rain rain on you. I would recommend creating content daily and make it 2 pieces of content. Give yourself a challenge. You can record something 10 minutes every day, and you don't have to prepare for the 10-minute recording, audio recording. Just need to take your phone and have a list of topics. You look at the topic and you start recording. You're going to make a million mistakes, but remember, those are the blocks you are overcoming, so that the day you're seated in front of the client, you're no longer worried about what am I going to say. And this is coming from somebody who used to stutter. The area you are in, Rumbi, is going to require you creating a lot of content, a ton of content. Everyone on this call, your journey towards becoming an expert in an area, really being passionate and amazing in an area, is going to involve at some point you creating content for other people. What that does is it forces you to show up. It forces you to be consistent. At least, hopefully I'm proving to all of you, I have to show up here ready to facilitate a session. And I have to facilitate a session on something that I am doing or something that I have experienced myself, because this is not a counseling psychology class. This is real life. After here, I'm headed out to go to the hospital. If I'm not doing these things and I'm sharing these videos, I will look at some of these videos 6-7 years and I'm like, Mogire, you are such a liar. That's not what I want, right? My challenge to you is create a fixed amount of time and create content every day. Put that camera up. Your phone is good enough for camera. Start recording that content and just put it somewhere, wherever, whether it's on YouTube or wherever. Just start dropping it in there. The initial quality might be crappy, but there will be people who look at it and they're like, this is actually good content. The most important thing is not the content that you put out, is that you will have to show up every day. You will have to face your fears and record. Where you put a video up, you go and 10 minutes later, you're logging in and you're wondering, my goodness, what did I just do? Do I delete this video? You get past those fears so that you can finally ignite the fire. The fire actually lights up. I am waking up at 3:30. If that's not fire, then I don't know what fire is. And you want to get to a place where you are no longer you're no longer trying. We try for too long. I'm trying to make it work. I'm really trying. I will keep trying. I am past trying. I'm at the point of doing it. I am doing it. I'm not trying. What am I trying? I've been trying long enough. It's time to do it. It's time for you to do it, Rumbi. Brainy, Diba, Elena, James, Judith, Ndungi, Pat. It's time to do it. Let's hear from Pat. Is there anybody else I haven't called? Yes, Pat. What are your top 10 goals? Please share with us.
Okay, my top 10 goals are I'll start with the ones I want to become an expert investment professional. First, by finishing my master's in finance project by the end of this year, getting CFA certification by 2022, completing a financial modeling course, which I'm currently undertaking, gaining experience in the same by looking for employment opportunities in investment analysis, and watching news and reading business reports to get enlightened on what's happening. Then the rest are just personal goals on learning a new language, that is French, then reducing my weight to 62 to 64 kgs. I'm doing intermittent fasting for that. Exploring music, just a personal interest by joining a group or a band. Attaining financial independence through my savings and my investments. That is so that they're able to support my monthly expenditures, and also starting a business is in an area of expertise. I'd like to start a family of at least 2 kids and be able to provide for them in the next 5 years. And then I'd like to contribute to the community by starting a Visit Old People program. Yeah, that's it.
I love them. I love that you started off with especially your learning area goals. What's your vision? It's 20 years from today. Patricia has grown in her knowledge and expertise in finance. What is she doing 20 years from today?
20 years from now, I am 20 years from now, what am I doing? I'm venturing out on my own. I'm developing affordable housing. And that's based on all the knowledge that I've built up over the years.
Yeah, okay. So in other words, 20 years, you have already had the impact you want. You are in terms of in employment or in working in formal structures. Now you have become so big as an expert, but you also have enough financial power and an expert voice enough for you to influence. I want you to, let me not try to help you paint it from my end. I want you to, so you are 65, okay? You are 65 in this specific goal. Please write down like 2 or 3 paragraphs, like really try and see what it would look like, right? What that is going to look like. Patricia, and this is for everyone on the call. In Africa today, for people within your age range, if you even get to the point of reading Harvard Business or even The Economist level of articles and read that level of article in the subject you're interested in daily for 1 year, you will become an expert. You will become so different that whenever you are speaking with people who are 20, 30 years older than you, you go in for an interview and they want to hire you on the spot. You know the reason why? We are the generation of long post alert, where a 3-paragraph article is prefaced with long post alert. That is the shame of our generation, that our attention span is so short that a tweet can be too long for us to read. It is going to be so easy for you and I to set ourselves apart, because this is the long post alert generation. Two paragraphs is a long post. And yet your growth and my growth lies in long form articles where you read for understanding, because you're no longer being tested. You subscribe to journals and read for understanding. Find people on LinkedIn, Patricia, find people who are experts in this area and follow them. Create a schedule, Patricia. You start acting the way you will be acting when you are 65, when you have become an expert. You start doing that today. Create a schedule to write, maybe it's 2 articles every month, and put them on LinkedIn. The initial articles will be crappy, but start writing those articles. Start writing articles on these financial topics. Please do not, everyone on the call, please do not study anything for the purpose of just studying it. Study something for the purpose of giving something out to the world. What does that, what that will do is it forces you to digest, to go beyond just, mere exposure to the information. You want to be able to process this information, be able to be able to churn it out, to be able to understand it and express it in your own way. Patricia, find experts, especially even on Twitter. You will, if you are active on Twitter, it's a platform that I would try to keep away from in terms of exposing yourself frequently, because there is always arguments going on Twitter. But you will find experts. follow hashtags that are on this topic. And the good thing is now LinkedIn allows you to do that. Find people who chant content daily in this area. Pick the idea. What article did he do? An article on a certain subject in Europe. Try and challenge yourself. Sit down and write a 400 article about Africa. The things we used to hate the most in school, in college, are going to be the most valuable things. Being able to write high quality content and share it. High quality content and share it. Some people you will be invited to an interview someday. The people you are competing with have never written an article. You walk in and somebody has read your article. They have read an article you wrote after 6 months, but if they had read what you were writing at month 1, month 2, it looked like amateur. But by month 6, you actually know the vocabulary of this industry. You know the current trends. You write the article, and please do not count comments and likes on content that you're producing. If I was doing that, I would be so depressed about the content we are doing right now. One view, sometimes one view is worth 10,000 views. Because if I write an article and I have the choice between 10,000 people seeing that article and Oprah Winfrey seeing that article, I would rather just Oprah sees that article and no one else sees it, and she thinks it is something and she shares it with somebody else. She will share it. One person will share an article and it goes to 1 million, and yet 100,000 will see this article and they just see it and walk away. Your aim is not to get the response from the environment, from the market. Your aim is to show up and produce quality from within, because even if nobody sees it, you are like an avocado. You're an avocado tree. You are like a guava tree. You are like a lemon tree. One piece of your fruit, one piece is going to end up in a palace, but you don't know which palace, which fruit will be, and when it will go to the palace. Sorry, somebody is paging me from the hospital. All right, no, it's a colleague. I will respond once we are done. One of you are like a fruit tree. You're producing a ton of fruits. One of these pieces is going to end up in a palace, and it ends up in a palace on a king's plate. You don't know which one it's going to be. But if you don't produce many fruits, you won't have a chance. So your aim is to start producing content. When you produce content, it forces you to digest what you are doing. It forces you. Judith, start writing those articles, start writing those pieces about different forms of research. Sometimes you might just, on LinkedIn, you might just start writing about different methods of research. Or I was reading about mixed methods and how it's being applied in HIV research. You writing about, for example, the real estate investment opportunities that are arising in East Africa, or how financial markets have been affected in developing countries during coronavirus. Those kinds of topics that you will find other people speaking about, but then you start writing it in your own voice and putting in your own focus. What are the physical activity patterns currently across Africa, Rumbi? Right? This is a transformative mindset, because you are no longer a consumer of content, you are a creator of content. And this is how I start building muscle. You start building muscle to have a bigger impact and a bigger legacy. But we are waiting to hear how the expert Patricia will be showing up and how she will be acting, what she will be able to do. Reformatting my brain to no longer associate pain to the things that I associated pain with when I was in school. Right now, I'm reading the most amount of poetry I've ever read in my life. And that's because sometimes one poem, like a 10 stanza poem, teaches you more than a biography, because poetry forces whoever is writing it to really condense their ideas, to really narrow it down and pack it with as much weight as possible. And yet when we were in high school, when we had juxtaposition of themes, we are like, my goodness, if you didn't hate poetry when you were in high school, you were lucky. Otherwise, My hate for poetry was inspired by one of my teachers who was teaching us poetry. He's like, don't worry, as soon as you do your exams, you will forget about poetry. But now I have to change my mind. You have to change your mind about some of the things that we hate, that we did not necessarily like in high school. I have gotten some of the people I coach to go in and learn three topics in mathematics, so that we can let go, we can overcome that negative conditioning that we had. You see people sharing jokes, like for example, oh, there's going to be a tsunami, or your mathematics teacher doesn't show up. Which do you pick? And people are like, my mathematics teacher doesn't come. So that you would rather have a tsunami than your mathematics teacher come. We want to let go of some of those conditionings. So some of the areas of tension where suddenly, you say you are in a meeting, and this meeting they have invited a poet. This poet may not even be very interesting, comes, shares a poem, and somehow your energy drops because he has elicited an association that you formed long ago that is no longer serving you. Writing, creating content is going to be your superpower in the area you want to become an expert in. And we will continue searching for everyone. We will continue searching until you figure out what that will look like, so that it comes down to a very narrow area, and then you can really delve. If you want to build a tall wall, you're going to bring your bricks together so that they can lie on top of another instead of spreading out wide. And so you building that wall will require that we narrow down, and that's what we keep doing. You keep writing these goals so that we can keep narrowing down until we can figure out specifically what is the one area where this is the area where you will put those bricks. Even if this area is going to change in 3, 4, 5 years, for today, you show up as an expert. So that you retrain your brain to embrace opportunities to create content. We haven't heard from Judith. What are your top 10 goals, Judith?
Okay, hi everyone. My goals are: number 1, I'm spending 1.5 hours each day learning R. I am leading qualitative and quantitative analysis for the projects that we are working on. I am publishing 1 manuscript as a first author. I am committed to grow myself by doing at least one course on LinkedIn each week. I'm committed to show up for my meetings well prepared to share. I'm spending 1 hour each day teaching my son to read and my daughter to perfect her piano skills and review our schoolwork. I'm preparing schedule each day with goals and reviewing them at the end of the day at 9:30 p.m. I removed all my lifestyle goals.
Wow. Wow, Judith, you have no idea how much you inspire me. It's because I'm in Midwest, which means I'm an hour ahead of you. You are up consistently before 5. Most of the days you've been able to join us by 4:30. The sacrifice you're making, it's, trust me, in a few months, some of the people around you will start wondering what happened to you. And there are friends who are going to drop out of your circle. It's not that you're pushing them away, just that they no longer fit. Because sometimes you have too many people with whom we share common interests, but not enough people with whom we share common values. So value like consistent growth is a very rare value. True, authentic, consistent growth is so rare that when you start pursuing this, you make it a core value. Some people in your life just drop off because they no longer fit. Because if you're not available to go, to binge on this new series, or to go on endless road trips, those kinds of entertainment, primarily entertainment activities, they no longer have room in the activities don't have room, the people don't have room in your life. It's not because I'm pushing them away or you're pushing them away. It's just that the choices I've made, you won't feel comfortable being around me. You would I mean, some of the decisions you would end up making will just push those people away. We are speaking about energy this week. Our aim is to come to a place where we are spending 80% of our energy on the 20% of activities that will produce 80% of our results. And it's going to take a process of continual narrowing down. And the more frequently we share our goals, the more openly we share our goals and reflect about these goals and share comments, share ideas about these goals, the easier the journey is going to be for you and for me to focus on the 80% of our goals that is the most valuable. In fact, the narrower it becomes, the easier. 20% of your activities, 20%, they carry 80% of your growth, which is your 20% of those activities. Which goals does that 20% of activities serve, so that those goals then become the most important? As I have reiterated before, and I would strongly continue to reiterate, you need to have an overarching goal. Your overarching goal needs to touch on the 3 areas. If you remember the hedgehog concept, it needs to touch on an area that you can be really, really good at, that has a capability to pay you, and that you are able to become passionate about it. If it's an area that you either already love or you can fall in love with, and you can become excellent at, and that area can pay you. Financial goals will give you so much freedom to be who you are with greater ease, that, I mean, you can still become who you are when you are hungry, but it will be such a hard thing to do. But financial goals, being able to become more financially capable, either by earning the money or by improving your ability to earn the money. In other words, increasing your value. And this cuts, it cuts all the way down to increasing the hour of your value. Increasing the value of your hour. That's what I intended to say. Increasing the value of your hour, so that when you start the day, you know that the next 10 hours that you dedicate to productivity, what those 10 hours are worth. And you are able to figure out, is my current employer paying me what I am worth? Or is this business I am doing giving me the value I am worth? And what do I need to do to increase the outcomes that I'm getting from the inputs, to make sure that I am getting out of this business what I am worth? I know what each hour of my life is worth right now. And in 10 years, I have a clear projection. By the time I'm 65, I have a very clear projection. If somebody is going to invite me from wherever I will be, whether it's in Europe or Australia or Kenya or US, and they're inviting me to their company, or maybe to another country to go speak, I know when I'm 55 what my hour needs to be worth. I know what my hour is worth today, so that when I show up and I spend an hour with you guys, I know how much I'm giving away. So I have to make sure that I am experiencing enough challenge to reflect, to think about the ideas, to express them with as much proficiency as I can, so that the proficiency I'm developing, the ability to digest content and share content, the ability to listen to you and think about what I'm hearing, the ability to actually learn from every one of you when you share, that all this put together, they give me out of every hour the value I need to get where I want to go. And that's my challenge to you. Do not be distracted, whether it's in this meeting or any other meeting. Be present in that meeting. Challenge, the growth that is going to happen is not on the browsing you're doing. It's not on the reading you're doing. It's not on my phone or your phone. It is what I'm doing with my brain in that moment. Beginning to teach my brain that we need to be where we are, my body and I. When I started speaking, I had a joke that I used to tell people that the first speech I made, I showed up and I was called to the floor and I went on to the platform to speak, but my body went to the platform, but my brain remained seated. It's just those initial times when you are called out to give a contribution, you open your mouth, but you forget to open your brain. And so we overcome those barriers. The more we do this, where it is my brain that needs to first go there. There's a quote that one of my friends really, really likes, that your body or your feet will never take you where your brain has not already gone. So our feet will never take us to a quality of 65 that our brain has not already taken us to. So as an ingredient of preserving our energy and making the most of our energy, we have to continue narrowing down to the 20% of our activities, the 20% of our goals, the 20% of the areas we need to focus on, the 20% of the areas we need to grow in and become excellent in, that will produce the 80% of our value, of our legacy, of our impact, of our energy. So that we are not doing a list of 20 items. We are doing 3 things that produce 80% of the value. So that we truly have high value activities. You stop learning in an area because you felt deficient when you were a child or when you were in school. Now you're trying to compensate, because it means you have allowed yesterday to sneak into the present, that you are still pursuing yesterday. And remember, when you draw that bar and shade the days that are gone, yesterday is gone. Yesterday is so over, it will never come back. So I do not want to carry yesterday's guilt into today's opportunities. I do not want to be busy engaging in 20 different activities when the majority of these activities are simply filling my time. What is the 20% of activities that produces 80% of my results? The 20% of activities that produces 80% of my activities needs to consume 80% of my energy. Because the paradox is, when the highest value activities consume 80% of your energy, what ends up happening is the highest value activities give you back multiplied energy. Your consistency, your self-discipline, your self-leadership, they create momentum, and the momentum becomes a multiplier of your energy. What is the 20% of your activities that produce 80% of your value? And how do you bring those to the center? So that this is where your energy goes on a day-to-day basis. Any goal that is based on comparison, that is based on jealousy, that is based on self-doubt, on the perception of inner deficiency, needs to go, so that it creates room for me to indulge in the goals which are truly growing me and pushing me to where I need to go. I hope that the reflections we've done today, that they add value and some level of understanding about energy, not from a theoretical perspective, but from a practical point of view. So to link last week to today, please review all the paragraphs that you did last week, from somebody from your family, from one of your colleagues at work, from your best friend. I want you to add today, write a paragraph or 2 paragraphs today about somebody that you really respect. Maybe it's a mentor or one of your teachers, somebody that you respect, that would be invited to speak at your 65th birthday, and you know, whatever they would say. So today you're going to write the paragraph from somebody you respect, and today we want to do a gratitude paragraph. It is you. It's you. We haven't reached the end of that whole celebration, but what will you say during this birthday celebration? And what specific things did you learn along the way that you are so grateful for? So you are not writing about the things that you intend to learn. You're writing about things that you learned. So you are writing from the end. You are beginning with the end in mind. So you will write like 2 or 3 paragraphs about the lessons you learned along the way, the skills you gained along the way, and the behaviors you manifested that you are so proud and so grateful for. And then a list of people that you are so grateful for, who started you on the journey, right? It could be books that you are so grateful you read. It could be mindsets that you are so grateful you developed. You are describing the you that you would be so proud to bring to the platform for people to listen to, and for cameras to come and chua and take photos of you. You are adding your voice to this. Please complete each of these paragraphs so that by the end of this week, we should have almost 3 or 4 pages of actual content that people have produced. And there's just an energy that is in there that when we tap it, it's sort of, it's like switching a bulb on in a room that you didn't even know you had. We are already at 4:36, but I think it's always powerful for us to hear from each other. Make it very brief, right? It's make your reflection very brief. What is the single most important thing you've picked from this session? And I commit to, let's reflect in that format very quickly, starting off with Rumbi.
Sorry, I was facing a few challenges. Okay, so for me, what I learned from today is that I can be and I can do what the best I can possibly be. So basically, I need to focus more on doing more now for where I actually want to be in the future. So I need to move past my fears and not allow that to define or to imprison me, but I can actually be and still do and attain a greatness. So I must be fearless and commit myself to creating content that will touch the lives of many people.
That's just beautifully spoken. Thank you, Rumbi. Diba?
Thank you. My takeaway from this discussion is the concept, actually a question that you asked, I think, is it Patricia or Judith? What will you be doing when you have achieved your ultimate goal? What do you see yourself doing when you are at that end point, for example, at 65 years? So, so I think that for me, was able to help me create a bigger, a clearer picture of what I will be like when I have achieved my goals. So that's my takeaway for today.
I commit to.
I commit to not breaking the chain.
Wow, great. Thank you, Diba. Elena? Elena with an E.
My main takeaway from today is that we should step out, just be consistent in doing things that create that consistency. I liked what you shared about reading the Harvard Business Grade articles and coming up in that particular aspect. Over time, you become seen as an expert.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Elena. I commit to.
I commit to reading an article 4 times every week and sharing more content on my blog, on my business strategy blog.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Elena. Here is my, based on my understanding of what's happening in the expertise realm in Africa, Elena, I promise you, if in 1 year, in the course of 1 year, if you read and just blogged about business strategy, in 1 year, you will be one of the experts. I know the people who do business strategy in East Africa. I would comfortably say I know at least 80% of the people who do business strategy. It's one of the biggest voices is Sunny Bindra. But Sunny Bindra is not necessarily a business strategist. He's just a thinker. He distinguished himself by writing for the Nation Daily every week. And that's how he became a business strategist. Like it's that, of course, maybe the links that he has, but it is very easy to distinguish yourself in an area. Just going to take sweat. If you can write on the days you don't feel like writing, that's how you set yourself apart, because people do things when they feel like doing things. If you learn to do things, so even when you don't feel like doing those things, you set yourself apart. Thank you, Elena, for sharing that with us. James, what's your takeaway? And I commit to.
So my takeaway would be the point on getting 20% of my activities to utilize 80% of my energy. I think that is one of the points I've got towards the very end. And my biggest commitment at this moment would be to narrow down to 20% of my activities and to allocate 80% of my energy to those activities specifically.
Thank you very much, James. That's very succinct and very well spoken. Judith.
My takeaway is I learned that I'm going to face resistance on my journey to personal growth, but I will keep on moving forward. I'll not give up, and I commit to putting my energy on highest value activities.
Thank you, Judith. I love how every one of you is just narrowing it to something that I can actually carry away with me. Ndungi, what's your takeaway? And I commit to.
Yeah, thanks. For me, my biggest takeaway today is the 95-5 rule or the Pareto principle, where 80% of my outcomes are driven by 20% of what I concentrate in. And when you said my feet will never take me to where my mind has never been, that was very powerful. And for me, I commit to reprogram my mind to be comfortable with things that I will not necessarily be comfortable with in the past. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Ndungi. Pat, what's your takeaway? And I commit to.
I commit to following at least 2 influential people in the financial sector on LinkedIn and reading basically what they post so that I get to know what's happening in the sector. And then, well, I just wanted a clarification on this person that on how this person that I'm writing to that I respect, how it's related with my 65th birthday. I didn't get that quite clearly.
Also, so this exercise we are doing, it's your 65th birthday celebration, and people have gathered, and there are all sorts of people. So this person knows you, and they are present in the meeting. So they have been asked to go to the podium to say a few words about you. So write down the 3 paragraphs that they will present. They're like, I have known Pat for XYZ, and what they see in you.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we've covered everyone. Pat, Diba, Elena, James, Judith, Rumbi, Ndungi. Thank you everyone for showing up for day 47 of the Breakthrough Challenge. This week, we continue to speak about energy. We focused on goals today, just to make sure that we've gotten everybody to review their goals and also to realize that our activities, they consume our energy, but they can also produce energy if we use them proactively. Look forward to see you tomorrow when we cover yet another ingredient of energy on this journey towards breakthrough at 90 days. Continue preparing for November 28th when we create a new commitment to help us make the most use of December as the ultimate way to get ready for 2021. That will be it from me. My name is Dr. Jock Mogire from the House of Mastery. continue living with passion.